Welcome, everyone. I'm Marissa, but you probably know that since I I connected with you all to invite you to this session. And whether you were nudged to come to today or you said to yourself, wow, Marissa reached out and here we are, um, I'm so happy that you've joined because when we think about advocating for our careers, no one else, no one else is responsible for us but us. And when we join a group like us together to have this conversation around how to advocate, how to take action, some of us fall into our careers and our jobs haphazardly. And then some of us take very clear, planned action towards our career path. Whatever road you're on at the moment, today is going to be around how to understand, take a moment to pause and understand our own power around how we advocate for ourselves in the workplace. We're going to be talking about very clear three specific skills on how to build our confidence towards having the approach to having a conversation with someone, whether it be our direct manager or a mentor or a coach, to be able to articulate what we want out of our own careers. And then I hope that you walk away today in our quick session with some actionable tools that you can apply today, sitting down with yourself and saying, how can I make this plan for myself? So before we move forward, I'd like to formally introduce myself. I'm Marissa Matz, and I am the founder of Matz Learning Solutions. We are a training and coaching boutique consultancy working with organizations mostly out of Southern California. I have been acquiring clients in other states and in Northern California, I'm so happy to say. So we are growing. We've been in business for 10 years now. And I mostly focus on leadership training within organizations, helping managers be great managers. And about 2 years ago, I started to pivot my work and pivot my passion towards women leaders, which is why I have birthed this program today as part of my Rising Legacy organization. So I've started another business venture focusing leadership development, training, and coaching for women. So over the last, I'd say 12 months, I've been working closely with women leaders who have been voicing a struggle around how to advocate for their career. So I just wanted to give you that background of why this topic, why now, and it's because it became a recurring theme in the last year. And I said, let me put some slides together and let me bring my community together to have this conversation. So thank you so much again, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all. I will take a moment, if you could, please, open up your chat here in Zoom. I'm sure if you work in organizations, you familiar with Zoom or Teams and this virtual learning space. In the chat, please type in your name, say hello to others in my network, and share where you're joining us from and in the or company or organization that you work with. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sarah. Enjoy your lunch. I think, no, we have Bethany. What time zone are you in? Are you on Central Time too or Eastern?
Central.
Central. Okay, good. So 2 Central. If you're having lunch, go for it. I don't mind. And I'm Mexican and Filipino. It's our life's work to feed others. So if you want to eat, eat. I don't mind at all. Just as long as I don't have to hear the slurping or whatever, you're good to go. Thanks, everybody. All right. Welcome, Sarah from Minnesota. Welcome, Shelby from Southern California. Good to see you. Welcome, Jane. How's it going? And Jenny, welcome, Bay Area. I was just up in Palo Alto earlier this week working with a new client, and oh, it's so nice. It's just so refreshing to take a short trip up north. Hey, Kat, also from the Bay Area, and then Bethany in Missouri. Awesome. And I think we have maybe a couple more people joining us a little bit later. We'll see where they're from. So to get started, I don't know if some of you know this about me. If I haven't seen you many years, you might not know this. I am a certified yoga instructor as well as training facilitator. And so when I do workshops like this, I really like to take a moment to be present because some of you have had a busy Friday morning already, and you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm here in this workshop. What's Marissa going to be talking about? So I do invite us for just for 3 deep breaths. Let's take a moment to be here, be here in our learning. If you'd like to close your eyes for your 3 deep breaths, I welcome that. Let's leave this morning where it is in the past. Let's reshift our focus and commitment to ourselves, thinking about how the tools today can support our career moving forward. And let's be here with each other. Okay, thank you. So when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open and let's get ready. Let's shift. Why are we here today? Um, I have gotten this question from women that I work with. Why? Why do I have to advocate for my career? Why can't I just be approached by my manager or by my leader and given opportunities? I've worked my butt off. I've gotten here to these organizations, to this job. Why do I have to keep going and keep advocating for my career? So, to answer that question, I welcome us to think about what it means to our own growth to step into our shoes and say to ourselves, I have to do this for myself, for my growth. It's essential that we take ownership and control of our environment and our growth and development. In addition, letting others know what our goals are actually opens doors. I was having a conversation just yesterday with someone around articulating out loud goals and what that can do to the energy of the goal achievement, the thing that you want to move towards. Because we can think in our own brains, oh, I wish I could accomplish this, or I wish I can do that, or move into that job. And it just sits in our head, and it may or may not happen. But it's amazing what can happen when you decide for yourself, you know what? I'm going to tell somebody. You might tell a partner, or you might tell a coworker what your next step is. Guess what? That energy actually can manifest into reality. I don't know if that's happened to anyone on this call where you say to yourself, I'm going to do this. And months later, it actually happens and it kind of freaks you out. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it worked. That's happened several times in my career. And sometimes, it feels unlikely. Like, oh, that's just a dream. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. And then it does. It can be shocking. So, this is a reminder today, everybody, that when we speak up and we share things out loud, it can make a huge difference. And the only person in control of that is us. So I invite everyone to grab something to write with right now, please. If you don't have like a notebook in front of you, you can have a notebook and pen. Or for those of you who like digital notes, pull out like a blank Word doc or a OneNote sheet. And my first writing exercise that I'm going to challenge you with is, what's one career goal that maybe you've been hesitant to share out loud? Let's just get it down on paper. So I'm going to give you 1 minute, one quick minute. What's a career aspiration or a step that you've said to yourself, I don't know if I want to tell anybody about that yet? Write it down. Okay. Would anyone feel comfortable either typing it in or coming off mute and sharing it here in this space? No one really knows each other. You might know me, but you usually would. I don't think this group knows each other. What could you say out loud right now about this career goal without any judgment? Sarah, go for it.
I would like a promotion at work into a role where I have the opportunity to lead and manage others.
I got goosebumps. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right. I'd love another volunteer who can just say it out loud. Or you can type it in the chat. At least you get it out there. Anyone else? Okay. So, what I invite us to do next is now that we have this career goal and you're saying to yourself, okay, what do I do with it? I'm going to share with you three steps of what to do with this goal. And maybe ask yourself, why haven't I shared it? Step number one group is something called challenging our imaginary walls. We go through life, we go through our jobs and our day to day, and we say to ourselves, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I'm not sure if someone will listen. I don't know if someone might give me some harsh feedback and I'm not ready to hear it. And those are all what I consider imaginary walls. And so to get past that, I want us to think about what kinds of self-imposed limitations hold you back. For many years, I had my mother's voice in my head. Many years of Marissa, work hard. Marissa, put your head down. Don't stand out. Don't stand up. Just put your head down. Someone will recognize you one day. And that's what I would call an imaginary wall. I did what she taught me. I would call her a successful corporate employee for many, many years. And so I thought, well, if she succeeded, if I do what she's telling me, I could probably succeed too. But later in life, I realized, like, move, mother, move out of the head. And I decided to bring down and challenge that imaginary wall. So that's why I wanted to share that with you. What kind of limitations sit on your shoulders right now? The second step here is to think about maybe where you feel some fear, because our aspects of fear and feeling scared or afraid can lead to some negative self-talk. And those voices that we might hear when we look in the mirror and say to us, I'm not sure if you're qualified to do that. Or seriously, do you want to go in that direction? Or another item is, me? You want me to take on that work task or that project? And that can hold us back. And these small voices, no one else hears but you. How can you capture those voices and say, you know what? I'm going to flip that. That doesn't serve me right now. Snap out of it. Focus on what I can do. And then the third step here is thinking about the word confidence. It's easier said than done, right? Being confident. What does that look like to you? I want you to think about this statement here. Confidence comes from internalizing self-belief, our own potential for success. And I encourage you to think about what successes you've had in the past that you've persevered through, like, get out of my way. I got this. Where did that come from? And celebrate those moments. So the reflection question I'm challenging us to think about here is, in the chat, what's an imaginary wall that you frequently find yourself running into? Like, bam! And you say to yourself, get out of here, wall. What's one thing? So I'm going to stay quiet for a minute. I invite you to type in. We have 7 people on the call. I'd love to see any thoughts that are coming up for you about maybe an imaginary wall that you walk past. Like, get out. Okay, so I'll stay quiet for a minute. In the chat, I see a note from Sarah around imposter syndrome. Sarah, what thoughts do you have? Tell me more about where that's coming from.
So I just put in there, it tends to rear its ugly head around when it's time to like write up a quarterly business review or when I'm asked to prepare a budget. Things that, like I said, that I was
Oh,
formerly in
yes, here.
school
Teacher.
education
Mm.
for 15 years. And so those were things I didn't have to do. I was told, oh, you have $200 to spend this year. Like budget was next to nothing.
Mhm.
And so I get going along and I feel pretty confident in what I'm doing. And then a request comes through from my boss that I'm like, oh, someone with my title at my level should probably know how to do this. And I don't. And then I start doubting, like it spirals and I start doubting myself in so many more ways.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Exactly. And then one thing leads to the other and to the other. And then at the end of the day, you're exhausted because you've just been noodling in your head. Can I do this? Should I do this? I should already know how to do this. And these thoughts can really take us off course against the things that we were intending to do that day or that week or that quarter, because that little micro thought entered your self-doubt, came into your brain. It's like, oh, get out, take control. I'd like to share with you an article from Harvard Business Review. I'm going to put the author's name in the chat. Ruchka, I'm not going to, I'm probably saying it wrong. She authored a Harvard Business Review article. I highly encourage you just to Google for it. It's called Stop Telling Women They Have Imposter Syndrome. It came out maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. It made me think about the term, and that's why I wanted to hear more about your story, Sarah, because when we take this approach, we start labeling it that versus getting past it and challenging that wall and saying, all right, what am I going to do with this thought? It is natural to have self-doubt. How am I going to persevere past it? And that's step one towards advocating for ourselves, is getting past these walls. So thank you to those who typed in your imaginary walls around hearing feedback. Like, I don't know if I want to go there. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Having that negative self-talk that you don't know what you're doing, that you're not skilled enough to take on that project or task. Um, and Shelby, I love that thought. There's a lot of people doing my work. How am I special? Yeah, we are. And I want us to think about these things, these walls, this self-talk. I recently had a conversation in a workshop where I asked women, and I'm going to ask you all, would we ever say these things to other women? No way. No way. I would never tell my daughter, are you skilled enough for that? I would, those words would never come out of my mouth. So then why say it to ourselves? So, this can be a powerful technique of telling ourselves, you know what, self-talk, out of here. Positive self-talk, come on in. I have several affirmations and quotes around my office. I have one right here over my shoulder in that pink frame. Do what you need to do to get past those imaginary walls so that you can move to step two, which is finding your voice. That comes next. And under finding your voice, um, a key part of my career I have found is to find and identify trusted people that you can share these career goals with. And I like to call these people in my life my top five. And it can be four, it can be three, it can be two, or it can be one person. But really identify who can be I like to call them my ride or die. My people that I can text, even if I haven't talked to them for a while, and say, hey, can we have a coffee? Because I want to run an idea by you. If you don't have this trusted group of people or person in your life, start thinking, who can this person be for you? So that you can practice finding your voice with them. No judgment, they're your friend or your colleague. Step number two is think about this as a network of support that you can bring transparency. They can bring transparency to you, with friendly discretion. But you know that if they give you some harsh feedback, it's because they love you. It's not because they want to nitpick you or, get back at you for some reason. These people love you and they will tell you the truth. That's who I want you to start thinking about. Who are these people in your lives? And then the third item here is, you know what? They're going to they might tell you something that you don't want to hear. Anticipate what that feedback could be, shake it off if needed. Like, okay, I know this person loves me. I know this person has this best interest at heart. I should take it seriously and embed it. And if it hurts a little in the moment, say, all right, okay, whew, that's interesting. I didn't know that about myself. Let's move toward it. So when you're finding your voice, the question here is another thing to write down. Everybody grab your notebook. Who could these people be for you? And I want you to even write in number one, number two, number three. And if you can't think of three, that's okay. Let's move towards that. But in the next, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, how can you connect with these people to share your goals and then practice finding this voice of yours? Okay, so I'm going to stay quiet for another minute. Write down who could two or three people be for you to find your voice? Okay. So, group, the last step is to actually say it out loud. Say it out loud and not apologize for approaching someone or taking their time. It can feel scary. And when you can approach someone knowing that they have your best interests at heart, they're there to listen to you. I'm going to give you a sort of an outline or a script to say to these people when you approach them and say, I want to run this idea by you. This is what I've been thinking about. And take 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to give you a tool in a moment to help you gather your thoughts. But prepare for the conversation so that you can be clear, you can be concise and focused in stating your goals out loud. And so this is a structure that I use not only for myself, but with leaders that I work with. First is express your gratitude. So, thank you so much for your time. I wanted to meet with you today because I need to figure out my goals for the future, figure out my career aspirations, figure out my next step, and I'd love your feedback. So that the person that you're trying to communicate with knows exactly what you want from them. So you want them to hear you out, and then you invite their feedback about what your career aspirations are, and I'll give you some more points about what to ask. Then, before you meet with these people, and maybe these three people know you in the same context. For example, they all work at your same company, so they might have very similar interactions with you. Or one person is a work friend, one person is a personal friend, and then maybe one person is a sibling. So in each of those contexts, they know a different side of you. Based on what they know about you, I invite you to be specific about what you're looking for in terms of feedback. So if you're asking a coworker who might know you just in a professional way, say, I'd love feedback on my presentation or um, uh, use of problem solving in our next meeting. Something like that, where it's a very specific behavior that you'd like your coworker to give you feedback on. Let's say it's a friend. That might be more of a casual environment to ask for feedback, but you can say, you've known me for years now. I'd love your feedback on how I blank, how I listen to your concerns, how I reach out to you or show empathy when you're in a tough situation. Think about very specific things that you'd like feedback on versus, I'd love your feedback on how I'm doing at work. Well, that's very broad. Really try to be specific. Now, in your notebooks, please, I'm going to give you a chance right now to think about one of those people that you wrote on the previous step. So let's say it's a coworker or it's your manager. Think about how you would approach them, how you'd thank them for their time, and then how would you initiate or start the conversation with someone at work if you wanted to share a career goal or a plan for what comes next, maybe in 2025. So I'm going to give you another minute of silence here. Write a script for what you would say to someone at work or in your personal life to initiate this career conversation with them using that structure. Gratitude, the context of the situation, what your goal is or goals are, and then how you'd invite feedback. So I'm going to pause here. And, if you throughout this writing exercise are struggling with like how to put it together, I welcome your questions or thoughts. Oops, give me a moment. I didn't realize I went out of, there we go, um, full screen mode. If anyone has any questions or doubts, like, oh, how do I do this, Marissa? I welcome you to come off mute and share. So this is a writing period, and then if you have any questions, let me know. So team group. I'm used to saying team often, sorry. In the chat, take a look. If you haven't seen or downloaded, I put together a career development roadmap, and I think that you should be able to download right from the chat the PDFs. One is a form fillable blank version of the roadmap. And then the second attachment is a sample that I filled out for you because some people, struggle like, I don't know what to write here. Consider the sample. You can also visit my website. I have a screenshot here. MyRisingLegacy.com is my site. If you just scroll down on the homepage, it's like one of the first things there. If you fill in your name, you can get access to this free template. But since all of you are here, I'm giving it to you. When you're trying to prepare what you want to say out loud to these trusted people around you, consider thinking about putting your thoughts together for 5 to 10 minutes using this roadmap template can be a huge help to even just gather your thoughts and say, what do I want? How do I want to say it? When do I want to get these things done? Is it like soon? Like Sarah mentioned, this promotion leading people, do you want it in the next 6 months? Do you want it in a year? What do you need to do to prepare yourself for these moves? This roadmap can help you flesh out all those details so that when you walk into a meeting or a coffee shop and you're meeting with a trusted friend or coworker, you've already fleshed through your thoughts on your own before you move into the conversation. So my gift to you all, after 20 years of doing this work, there's so many golden nuggets that I can share with my community. And I told myself last year, I'm like, I'm going to share this. Why do I have to keep it on my computer? I don't have to. I can share it with my community. So I hope that serves you. We have 10 more minutes here. Um, I also put together some techniques for you all when you are navigating some tough feedback and what these conversations can be like for you. So, number one here, not every conversation you're going to have with these trusted advisors, trusted friends, or even your manager will go as expected. You're going to plan, you're going to share your career aspirations, and I invite you to be resilient and use these meetings or these conversations as learning moments. The second item here is seek feedback from lots of different people, not just maybe your direct manager. Because your manager has a specific relationship with you, you report to them, they expect you to achieve goals, and they have a different vested interest in your development versus someone who might be neutral. maybe a coworker or a project manager that you work with, or a previous boss from a different company. Seek out feedback from lots of different people and then go home, noodle through all these things that these people have told you around learning and growing and development, and then move forward in that direction. And then the last item here is remember that advocating for your career is a lifelong process. It's not a one and done conversation. It's not like you have a one meeting with your manager and you say, but I tried to advocate for myself and they didn't give me a promotion or they didn't give me that cool project that I asked for. Keep going. Keep going. It's not just a one-time thing. If I think back to the last 21 years of my career, it's been a rough road. I've gotten laid off. I've been part of an acquisition. I've started my own company. I have to talk to people I'm scared to talk to because they're the CEO of XYZ company. That stuff's scary. And, I persevere through those things. I have to get through my imposter syndrome. And, I'm not going to say this journey's easy. We're women, all of us on this call, we know the trials and tribulations and walls that we go through on a daily basis in a workplace, whether we work at a corporation or a nonprofit or a government agency. Systems are difficult to get through and navigate through, especially career-wise as we want to move up in organizations. We gotta struggle here. And the triggers that we experience at work, the emotions that we feel at work starts with us taking control and being aware of our style and what's happening around us to persevere through these. So my final thoughts here is, you know, think about what your imaginary walls are and what maybe one step you can do tomorrow to challenge that imaginary wall. And if you're good with that, say to yourself, who's in my network? Who can I share my career aspirations with? Even take that template, the one I gave you, fill it out and email it to somebody and say, I'd love to share this with you. Can we set up 10 to 15 minutes? I just want to vocalize it with you and see how it goes. And prepare and practice for what these conversations can be with all the people that matter. And you'll see these doors open. Remember, it's about manifesting, putting the energy out there, and it can come back. I'm going to pause here. And I see a comment in the chat from Mary Jane that says, talking to CEOs about my career goals is scary for me also. And it's because I feel like I'm asking for too much. And if we have similar thoughts group, is that an imaginary wall? Is it us? Or is it reality? Or is it, just something that you've been trying to work through over the course of your career? It can be very anxiety inducing. You feel that body heat rise like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go into a meeting with the CEO, with my boss. What are they going to think about me? What are they going to say in response to this plan I have for myself? But we won't know until we do it. So my last slide then is group, take action. Within the next week, I'm going to challenge us all. Number one, download and fill out that career development roadmap. It's right there. It's pretty. I think it's pretty. My team put that together for you all. The second item is then have one career conversation with someone from your list. Just one person. And if some of you struggled with even putting that list together, think about starting with a work friend or even your manager. Just one person. Fill it out, spend some time noodling with it, and then try it out. Okay. So group, I'm going to pause. I'm actually going to, no, I'll leave the slides. Group, what questions do you have? I have about 5 minutes. This is an open Q&A dialogue. It can be a comment. It can be a question about one of my techniques. What do you have for me? Thank you, Sarah. Isn't this fun? I've been doing all the talking. I'd love to hear other voices. in the chat or out loud. I'd love a voice.
I've loved this. Thank
Oh,
you so
thanks, Sarah.
much, Lisa. I do want to say in reply to Mary Jane's comment, I think a lot of it depends on the culture of your workplace because ironically enough, while I maybe feel have imposter syndrome talking to my boss, I actually don't have any fear talking to the CEO or the president of the organization. I will throw time on their calendar to do a skip level meeting with them. And I think a huge part of it is the culture that they have created at our organization. One of their favorite questions for either one of them is, if you could wave a magic wand right now, what would you want me to give you? And so I have no problem asking them like big, huge picture. What do I want? Like most recently, it was to be sent to our organization's summit conference. And that's what I asked the president of the organization for. And she's like, well, of course. Yeah, I'll send a note over that you're going to be attending and we're paying for your travel. It's like, cool, thanks.
Yeah,
So
that's your
I
voice.
continue to make those connections, I guess would be my little piece of advice.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. I hope that helps, Mary Jane. Thank you. Other thoughts, group? I'm not scary. Y'all know me. What I'll say is, you know how to reach me. I'm on Instagram now, full force. That's a huge undertaking for me. And let me tell you, that is so scary for me to be on Instagram, talking about my work, doing some video clips. And yeah, I'm doing it. What's even more scary is that I have a YouTube channel. I had a friend show his 6-year-old. It's like, oh look, Auntie Marissa's on YouTube, and she thought like it was the coolest thing that a 6-year-old knows somebody that's on YouTube. And I even thought, maybe let me interview her, see how it goes. What does a 6-year-old think about women's leadership? Wouldn't that be cool? Would y'all like that? I don't know. And I'm on LinkedIn, which majority of you know me through LinkedIn. Um, so on Instagram and YouTube, I'm Marissa Matz. And then on LinkedIn, because it's such an old account that I have, it's MB Matz. Maybe I should change it one day to make it match Marissa Matz. But anyway, um, I have so thoroughly enjoyed talking about this. You know, this is new for me, taking this community workshop approach, providing people in my network and my community with free learning like this. And let me tell you, I feel so energized to do this work with you all. And I hope that you're taking away one or two golden nuggets, tidbits for advocating for your career, because we're all in this together, and sharing this knowledge with you has really made my day and made my week. So next month, group, I don't have a slide for it, but on November 15th, I'm doing another free workshop just like this on how to bring benefit and acknowledgement to our cultural identities as women in the workplace, you know, and what kind of um, essence from how we grew up and have transitioned into this adulthood in the workplace, how does that all show up in how we behave at work? So another passion of mine, another passion topic. If you're interested, same place where you signed up on my website. It's November 15th is the next one if you want to come. It's also free. All right, Groove, thank you so much. Contact me if you have any follow-up questions or if you don't understand the career development roadmap. I think I'm also going to record a YouTube, um, I don't know, like how to complete your career development roadmap. I might do a YouTube around that coming soon. All right. Groove, thank you so much for coming. I so appreciate you. Big hugs to all. Good to see you. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Thanks, everybody.